What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Team Member Perspective podcast show. I'm your host, Colter, and I'm fired up. I'm excited for this episode. There's going to be a lot of value, I'm sure of it. Now, in today's episode, we're going to cover a couple frequently asked questions that I'm hearing from team members all across the country, okay? And although this is geared towards team members in the multi-line insurance space, there are still going to be principles here that will apply to you with whatever you're working on right now in your life. That if you apply a few of them, you will get to that next level. Without further ado, let's jump right in. One of the most common questions that I'm getting from team members across the country is, how can I better manage my time? And this question is absolutely important. And it's important that us team members learn how we can better control our time within the agency. I want to first explain why it's important and why it's crucial, really, that we get in control of our time. And then we're going to talk about a couple of things that you can do to better manage your day, better manage your time. If we think about the multi-line insurance space, being in the seat of a team member, we not only are trying to write more business, right? Grow the agency, but we're also servicing a book of customers, right? And so because of that, there are so many things throughout the day that will require our time and attention, that if we're not intentional with what we're doing, our day will be in control of us and us not be in control of our day, right? It's inevitable, right? Because we have a physical location, we're going to have people interrupt us throughout the day, whether people are walking into the office or they're calling us on the phone, right? It's inevitable. We will be interrupted. And so if you don't have a clear plan of attack of what you need to accomplish every day to hit your goals, you'll probably just get stuck in the rat race of just barely scraping by and not finding enough time to get done what you need to get done. Okay? So it's important, guys, because of everything that requires our time and attention. We need to have a plan of attack. So with that said, something that will help you with your managing your time throughout the day is to first know your priorities. In your agency, you have a specific role, right? Whether that role is primarily sales-based, your job is to write more policies, bring on more business, right? Or whether you're in a service-based position where your job is different, right? Your job's not necessarily to write more business, but it's to help with retention of your current customers, make sure that we're following through with our promises, making sure people are paying their bills, dealing with underwriting emails, right? So we have different roles, okay? And whatever position you are in within your agency, you need to know your priorities. So the priorities are simply activities, things that will get you closer to your goal, right? And so if your goal is to sell more insurance, what activities get you closer to selling more insurance? If your goal is not selling, but it's more service-based, what are the things that you need to make sure that you're getting done every single day to fulfill your role, right? And so think of your role. Think of what your job duties are and think of what your goals are, right? And whatever your goals are, figure out what's going to get you closer to your goals. Those become your priorities, okay? Now, the second thing is we need to learn when to say no, right? Or better yet, we need to learn to say not yet. Not necessarily to our customers, but to ourselves, okay? For example, my primary role in my agency is to sell. It's to write more business. And so when I get into the office first thing, that is what I'm working towards, right? I'm getting done my priorities. And so if I'm interrupted or if I get a phone call and it's a big billing question, but I'm trying to get closer to my goals, instead of dropping everything that I was doing, right? Dropping my priorities to deal with this billing question, I'm going to say no to it, right? Or better yet, I'm going to say not yet. If I'm saying no to that, I'm going to get it to someone else to get done, right? Maybe to a service person within my agency that can take time and do that. But if I'm saying not yet, which happens more of the time, is I'm scheduling that for later on in the day, right? When I have some momentum that I've been able to give myself some time to get closer to my goals, to write more policies, right? And so we're fortunate, guys, to be in a position that although things are important and that they do require time and attention, a lot of the time, if not most of the time, those things are not urgent, right? And so instead of dropping everything that you're doing to take care of this billing question, if you're in a sales position, schedule it for later in the day. Let your customer know that they're going to be okay, right? And so learn when to say no, right? And if you're saying no, get it to someone that'll do it. That's, that will get it done, right? And learn to say when to say not yet, right? And if you're saying not yet, get that thing scheduled and tackle it once you've given yourself enough time, once you've gotten closer to your goal of whatever it is, okay? So those are a few things that if you can start to know your priorities and you learn when to say no or not yet, you will, without a doubt, be more in control of your time throughout the day, okay? And instead of wondering where this time is going to come from for you to get done what you know you need to get done, you know it's actually happening every single day because you're applying these principles, okay? Second question I get, and I hear all of the time from team members, is how can I be more consistent? Okay, and this is really specific to people in a sales position within the agency. And consistency is important, guys. And before I dive into a couple things that will help, I want to share a story of me early on in my sales career. This is back when I was in the door-to-door industry. I remember asking fairly well. I was managing a team, but I was very consistent at selling about one account a day, okay? But something was preventing me from getting past one. For whatever reason, I was really good. Like I get one a day, but I just couldn't get past that. And so I remember calling up my sales manager and his name was Blake. And I said, hey, Blake, how can I be more consistent at selling more than one a day? And so we're talking about consistency here. And the answer that he gave me really surprised me. I was looking for more of a detailed answer about maybe I was doing something different in my sales conversation, whatever it was. But his answer kind of caught me off guard. And he said, talk to me about what you do before you go to work. What are you doing in your mornings? And I remember answering I eat breakfast, I go to the gym, and I don't know if it's the same thing every day. After that, he said, you need to get a routine that works for you and start to be consistent with your routine. He basically helped me understand that when you're consistent with your morning routine or with something else in your life, that consistency will spill into selling, right? And I had a realization that day, and when I went and applied it, I started to sell more than one account a day, right? But I really learned the importance of consistency. Consistency in our lives, not just in what we do here at the agency. If you want to find more consistency with your role in the agency as a team member, start to find and be consistent with other things in your life, right? For the full year of 2023, I made it a goal for myself to do a 3-minute cold shower every single day. There's some health benefits, but more than anything, guys, I have found a lot of empowerment from that because it's a voluntary struggle that I'm putting myself through every single day. It's kind of similar to having a hard workout in the morning or hard workout every single day, but it's voluntary struggle that helps me deal with involuntary struggle that I will get throughout the day, right? So it helps me with my mindset. But guys, I'll tell you, being consistent with that, I haven't missed a day, and I'm not going to miss a day because there's so much more power other than these health benefits that this consistency spills into what I do as a team member, right? And I've been consistently going and exercising every single morning. I go to the gym. I have a consistent morning routine, and because I'm consistent there, that consistency spills into what I do in the agency, right? And so find something in your life right now that you can start doing and doing consistently every day, and that will start to train yourself that you do keep promises to yourself, right? And when you do that, you're going to see more consistency within your role in the agency. Okay, so consistency is important, guys. Another thing that you need to really figure out is you need to know your why, right? And you need to know the what. So why do you want to find consistency in the agency? What about consistency is important, right? Why do you want to achieve your goals within the agency? And guys, that's going to be different for everyone. Maybe the money is motivating you, right? But maybe money doesn't motivate some of you like it does others, right? And so everyone has their own reasons as to why they want to accomplish their goals. To be consistent, you need to know your why. You need to know your why, and you need to get down to the heart of the why that will get you out of bed in the morning when it's not easy, right? Everyone can get out of bed in the morning when they've got the motivation and it's a new thing. You've got that excitement, that dopamine's kicking in. But when times get tough and you're tired and you don't want to wake up, your why will get you out of bed, right? If it is deep enough. And so if you want to find more consistency within the agency, know your why. Know your deepest why of the root of what motivates you, and that will help you be more consistent. That will pull you into consistency rather than you feel like you're pushing yourself into consistency. Okay? The third thing that will really help you with consistency in the agency is to have the right accountability system in place for yourself. I want to talk about this one because this one is absolutely important. In a sales position, whether you're a team member and your role is to sell, or whether you're in a different sales position outside of insurance, there is an element of selling that is out of our control. But there's also elements that are within our control. But first, let's talk about what is not in our control in a sales position. At the end of your pitch, the end of your presentation, no matter how good or bad your presentation, your sales pitch was, what is out of your control here is what the customer ultimately decides to tell you. They're going to either tell you, yes, I'm in, or no, I'm out, right? And that decision is out of your control. It completely is, right? And so what I see happen in team members that aren't consistent are team members that are not holding themselves accountable for activity. They're only holding themselves accountable for results, okay? And that becomes a problem because of that element of control that we just don't have. We don't have control what the customer is going to decide. And so if we're only holding ourselves accountable for results, we're going to get discouraged. It is absolutely inevitable, right? And so what can you do? What type of accountability system can you put in place for you? Something that works for you and is sustainable, right? Because if it works for you and it's sustainable, you're going to be consistent, right? It's that simple. But what can you put in place to actually find consistency with what you're doing, right? And so going back to the element of control that we don't have in the conversation, it's what the customer decides, right? So let's flip that now. What do you have control over in a sales conversation? Specifically in the insurance agency as a team member. Well, I'll tell you guys, you have control if you're going to bring up life insurance with your customer or not. That is 100% in your control, right? And so if results are not 100% in your control, but having the life insurance conversation is, now you know what to implement in your accountability system. You need to hold yourself accountable for activity, for that thing that you can control. And you need to figure out how to celebrate with yourself when you actually hit your activity goal, right? Because it's 100% in our control, that's what the accountability needs to be around, right? And what happens is when you have that in place and you're holding yourself accountable for activity that is in your control, even if you don't sell a policy, you showed up to work and you hit your activity goal, you're going to be okay with that, right? And when you learn how to celebrate that with yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, I didn't sell a policy today, but I did hit my conversation goal, which is really all in my control. You are positively reinforcing that activity. And then all of a sudden it becomes a habit. It becomes sustainable instead of you have a couple life conversations and you get, they tell you no and you get discouraged. Instead of that, they tell you no. It's like, okay, that's all right. I did what was in my control, right? So you need to get the right accountability system in place for you that will allow you to be consistent and that will set you up in a very sustainable way. The fourth thing that will help you with consistency, guys, and I'm kind of diving in here because it's important. Consistency is huge, and I am a firm believer in that, right? No one wants to be a one-hit wonder. Like, that's cool. We want to figure out how we can be consistent every single day, okay? So the fourth thing that you can do to start to find more consistency is to commit to daily action, okay? It's up to you to swing the bat. No one else is going to swing the bat for you, right? And so you need to commit to that. You need to commit to that daily action, which we kind of just covered, right? Your daily activity. Commit to that daily action that you have control over, and you will find more consistency, okay? And the last thing that I want to touch on with finding consistency within your role at the agency is to understand your customers. Specifically, understand how your customers are thinking. That's important there, guys, because when you start to understand how your customer's thinking, you know how to have more of a convincing conversation with them, right? If you know what makes them tick, if you know what they're stressed out about, if you know what the pain points are, what the pleasure points are, you can enter their mind. You can have a very convincing conversation with them in a way that you're speaking their language. They're going to listen to you and they're going to buy from you, okay? Now, not all of the time, but you're becoming more convincing. And so when you're more convincing, you're going to find more consistency within your role. So understand your customers, study them, figure out, put yourself in their position. What types of things would you be thinking if you just left the dealership with a car that you got a loan on, that now all of a sudden you've got this new loan, you've got this new debt that you've taken on, you've got this new monthly payment that you've got to make work, right? Put yourself into that position. How do you feel? What are you thinking, right? And when you do that, you will know how to have a better conversation with your customers, okay? So that's on consistency, guys. Find ways to be consistent with your role in the agency, and you will not only make more money, but you will be happier and more fulfilled with your role. And if you're not in insurance, those same things still apply to you, okay? Now, the last question that I want to cover today is a good one, right? And it's kind of in line with what we've talked about, but it is, how do I know what to do first every single day, right? Or what things should I be doing first throughout the day, okay? First things first, guys, your priorities have to be first, right? If you want to hit your goals, we've talked about this, you've got to know your priorities. And so the first things, your ultimate goal every single day is to make sure your priorities get done, right? These are the lever movers. These are the money makers, right? Any activity that's going to get you closer to your goal, those are your priorities. So you need to make sure that those get done. So first things first, right? You sit down at your desk, you load your computers, you get your systems pulled up. What next, right? It's you work on your priorities, okay? Or you make sure that your priorities will get done that day, right? Doesn't have to be, you just have to jump right into your priorities, but you need to make sure that they get done, right? For me, I like to start there, right? I want to get as close to my goal that day as I can before lunchtime, right? Those are the first things that I want to tackle, and then tackle things later on that aren't necessarily, getting me closer to my goals, but I still have to get done, right? Like underwriting emails, dealing with different service throughout the day. This next piece is awesome, right? And it's one for us sales team members that will start to create momentum for you in the day, right? And momentum in a sales position is absolutely huge, okay? But some of the first things that you need to do throughout the day is obviously work on your priorities, right? But within your priorities, figure out the low-hanging fruit. Find the follow-ups that you know you're going to close, or look at the opportunities that you have, or the the leads that you have and work on the ones that you feel like you will close, that are the easiest to close, right? Because what will happen is when you close a policy, right, or you complete one of those priorities, you're going to have some momentum, right? And that momentum will carry you throughout the day, and it will help you recognize opportunities better. It will help you better manage your feelings throughout the day, right, and your emotions. And so find the low-hanging fruit opportunities that you can close and start there, because it will create momentum, which will help you for the rest of the day. Okay? And the last thing that without a doubt will help you hit your goals and be in control of your day, right, and in control of getting your priorities done is you need to treat every interaction with a customer or with a prospect as an opportunity. And I don't care if you're a salesperson and you're dealing with a service call about billing. You need to figure out how to get your mindset focused of, okay, number one, we're going to take care of this customer, right? Take care of your customers, right? When you take care of your customers, they will take care of you. But you need to take care of them, okay? But also, with that, you need to treat that as an opportunity. Start being proactive, looking at their account, figuring out, where are some gaps or holes or concerns here? Where is a place here that I could create an opportunity for myself and educate the customer on a potential risk that they face, right? So every opportunity that you have to have an interaction with a customer, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone, treat it as an opportunity. And when you get in that mindset, you're going to recognize more opportunities, you're going to act on more of them, and you're going to write more policies, guys. It's really that simple. But you need to treat every single interaction with your customers, with your prospects, as an opportunity. Okay? Now, whether you pivot right then and there on the phone call to that opportunity or to that product or service, or you decide to write their name down, block it in on your calendar, and call them back another day or later that day, it's the same thing, guys. But your ability to start recognizing opportunities and being proactive in your role by treating every interaction as an opportunity, the better you'll be, and the better you are, that you're going to make more money and write more policies. So appreciate you guys joining in today. That's all I've got for you. Go and implement these things and get 1% better, and we will see you guys next time.